Well, folks, buckle up because the news cycle is spinning faster than ever and it seems like we've stumbled into a live-action circus sideshow. Remember when politics was boring, when celebrities stuck to entertaining, when the Olympics were about athletic achievement, Pepperidge Farm remembers. These days it's all a giant steaming pile of what the hell. Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, Trump at a black journalist conference, Meg the Stallion shaking it for Kamala. It's enough to make you want to crawl under a rock and wait for the aliens to take us all away. Seriously, someone slipped something in the water supply, right? Because the world has officially gone bonkers. But hey, at least it's entertaining, right? In that morbid, I can't look away from a car crash kind of way. The thing is, we can't even process one absurd headline before the next one slams into us like a drunken elephant at a china shop. Just when you thought you'd heard it all, bam! Trump's back with his unique brand of, let's call it diplomacy. And then there's Kamala, the self-proclaimed border czar, who seems to have misplaced the border, the czar hat, and maybe even her sense of direction. It's like watching a bad reality TV show, except it's real life, and we're all stuck in it. And don't even get me started on the Paris Olympics scandal, because, doping scandals and questionable judging were getting so predictable. Look, I'm not saying the world's ending. Well, I'm not saying it's ending either, but I am saying that we're in for a wild ride. So grab your popcorn, strap in, and try not to think too hard about it. Because if we start analyzing the sheer absurdity of it all, our brains might just melt out of our ears, and nobody wants that. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the madness together.
Robert Downey Jr., the man who built a career out of playing a billionaire playboy turned superhero, is now going to play Dr. Doom, the metal-masked, world-dominating supervillain. Irony, thy name is Hollywood. Look, I get it. Actors like to stretch their wings, try new things, and maybe wear a codpiece made of vibranium once in a while. But Dr. Doom, really? It's like casting a golden retriever as a junkyard dog. Maybe he's just trying to tell us something. Maybe after years of saving the world from CGI aliens and melodramatic robots, even Iron Man needs a break. And what better way to rebel than to embrace your inner supervillain? He's a phenomenal actor, even if his character motivation this time around seems to be midlife crisis of epic proportions.
Section 2, Doom and Gloom. Is this casting a self-portrait? But then again, maybe there's more to it than meets the eye. Maybe RDJ sees something of himself in Victor Von Doom. After all, they're both brilliant, charismatic, and have a bit of a god complex. Think about it. Iron Man and Dr. Doom aren't all that different. They're both geniuses with a penchant for technology and a flair for the dramatic. Maybe the line between hero and villain is thinner than we think. Or maybe Hollywood just ran out of original ideas. Either way, I'm sure RDJ will kill it.
Section 3. Method acting gone wrong. Let's hope he doesn't get too into character. The only thing that worries me is the method acting. We all know RDJ can disappear into a role. But what happens when that role is a power-hungry megalomaniac with a penchant for world domination? Will he start demanding to be addressed as Your Excellency? Will he insist on a metal mask at all times, even during contract negotiations? Will he try to build a doomsday device in his backyard just for research? Let's just hope he can separate fiction from reality.
Section 1. The Donald and the Black Press. A match made in, well, not heaven. There's nothing quite like the image of Donald Trump, a man who built his empire on real estate and reality TV, gracing the National Association of Black Journalists conference with his presence. It's like watching a bull in a china shop, if the bull wore a bad toupee and the china shop was filled with people who actually read books. Let's be honest, this is a man who seems to think Frederick Douglass is a new brand of golf club. And he's chosen to spend his time with journalists who are dedicated to reporting on the very communities he seems determined to ignore, if not actively dismantle.
Section 2, Alternative Facts and Orange Tans, Decoding the Trumpian Rhetoric. Of course, Trump being Trump, he'll undoubtedly use this opportunity to spin his own narrative, a tapestry woven with threads of alternative facts and held together by the sheer force of his ego. He'll likely talk about how much he's done for the black community, conveniently forgetting the whole birther conspiracy thing, his blatant appeals to white nationalists, and his administration's relentless assault on voting rights. He might even throw in a few compliments, praising the very fine people in the audience while simultaneously managing to insult their intelligence with his trademark brand of condescending rhetoric. It's a delicate dance, really, insulting and complimenting in the same breath, and let's not forget the inevitable Twitter storm that will erupt before, during, and after the event.
Section 3. Lost in Translation. A Black Journalist's Guide to Understanding Trump. For those brave souls attending the conference, I've prepared a helpful guide to navigating the labyrinthine world of Trumpian communication. When Trump says "Make America Great Again," what he really means is, "Make America white and wealthy again." Many people are saying actually translates to "I just made this up." When confronted with a difficult question, Trump will resort to one of three tactics: deflect, deny, or launch into a rambling, incoherent tirade about his enemies.
Section 1. Hot Girl Summer on the Campaign Trail, Meg Thee Stallion endorses Kamala. And in the politics is just a weird reality show category, we have Meg Thee Stallion, the queen of Hot Girl Summer, bringing her unique brand of female empowerment to a Kamala Harris rally. Because nothing says I understand the struggles of the working class like a rapper worth millions grinding on stage, while a politician whose biggest accomplishment is being the first black female vice president awkwardly claps along.
Look, I'm all for getting young people involved in politics. But there's something incredibly out of touch about a wealthy politician trying to appeal to the youth vote by associating themselves with a rapper whose lyrics are mostly about, well, let's just say they're not about balancing the budget.
Pandemonium, when politicians try to be down. This isn't just a Kamala problem, of course. Politicians have been trying to appeal to young voters with varying degrees of success, mostly failure, for decades. Remember Bill Clinton playing the saxophone on MTV? Al Gore inventing the internet? Every time a politician tries to be hip, an angel loses its wings. The problem is, young people can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. They can tell when someone is pandering to them, when they're trying too hard to be cool. And there's nothing less cool than a politician desperately trying to be cool. Will it work? A deep dive into the psyche of the youth vote. The million-dollar question is, will this blatant pandering actually work? Will young people flock to the polls because Meg Thee Stallion told them to? Will they suddenly become interested in fiscal policy because a rapper who made a career out of twerking gave a politician their stamp of approval? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, probably not. Young people, like all people, are more complex than that. They care about issues, about their future, about the direction of the country. They need real solutions, real conversations, real leadership. The real issues beyond the smoke and mirrors. While Kamala is busy trying to win over the youth vote with awkward dance moves and celebrity endorsements, there are real problems facing this country that are being ignored. Issues like climate change, income inequality, and racial injustice. These are the issues that young people actually care about, the issues that will determine their future. But those issues aren't as sexy as a campaign rally with a hot rapper. They don't make for good photo ops or viral videos, and so they're often pushed aside in favor of the superficial and the sensational. It's time for politicians to stop treating young people like a monolith that can be swayed by the latest TikTok trend.
And now, for our next act in this absurdist play we call reality, we have Kamala Harris, the woman who couldn't find her way out of a paper bag if it had exit signs plastered all over it, in charge of, wait for it, the border. Yes, you heard that right. The same Kamala Harris who seems to think a Venn diagram is some sort of satanic ritual is now tasked with solving one of the most complex and politically charged issues facing our nation. I'm sure it'll go swimmingly. But handing Kamala Harris the reins to the border is like handing a toddler a chainsaw and hoping for the best. It's a recipe for disaster. a slow-motion train wreck that we can't seem to look away from.
The border crisis is a real issue, with real people's lives hanging in the balance. Instead of addressing root causes like poverty and violence, politicians throw money at the problem. It's like putting a band-aid on a gaping wound. They talk about securing the border as if it's a video game, but the reality is far more complex. People will always find a way to seek a better life. We need comprehensive immigration reform, humane and effective.
In the meantime, Kamala Harris is out there somewhere, wandering the desert like a lost puppy, trying to figure out where she is and what she's supposed to be doing. She's probably holding press conferences in random towns, talking about the importance of root causes while simultaneously deporting asylum seekers and separating families. It's enough to make you want to scream, or laugh, or maybe both at the same time. Because the truth is, the border crisis is a joke, but not the funny kind. It's a cruel joke, a reflection of our broken political system and our collective inability to address the challenges of the 21st century. So, the next time you see Kamala Harris talking tough on immigration, just remember that it's all for show.
Paris 2024. The Olympics get a makeover, and not in a good way. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more ridiculous, we have the 2024 Paris Olympics, an event so mired in scandal and controversy that even the ancient Greeks are shaking their heads in disappointment. The City of Lights is quickly becoming the city of shady backroom deals and questionable financial transactions. Remember when the Olympics were about athletic achievement, international camaraderie, and the triumph of the human spirit? Yeah, me neither. These days, it's all about who can bribe the most officials, cover up the most doping scandals, and squeeze the most money out of the host city.
Faster, higher, dirtier. The games where everyone's a winner of corruption. We've got allegations of bribery, vote rigging and embezzlement. We've got construction delays, cost overruns and protests from Parisians who are understandably concerned about their city being turned into a giant Olympic theme park. But hey, at least the athletes will be competing at the highest level, right? Well, assuming they haven't been injected with the latest performance-enhancing drugs that are always one step ahead of the testers. Because let's face it, the only thing more predictable than a politician lying is an Olympic athlete cheating. And the saddest part is nobody even seems surprised anymore. We've become so accustomed to the Olympics being a cesspool of corruption that we just shrug our shoulders and accept it as par for the course. Bread and circuses, the Olympics as a distraction from reality. Maybe the Olympics are just a giant distraction, keeping us entertained and distracted from real problems. While we're glued to our screens, watching athletes perform superhuman feats, our governments wage wars and erode civil liberties, it's the oldest trick in the book. Give the people bread and circuses. So enjoy the Olympics, but don't forget the real world. Section 4. The price of gold. Who's really paying for the Olympic dream? And let's not forget who's really footing the bill for this extravaganza, the taxpayers, of course. The same people who are struggling to afford rent, healthcare, and a decent education are the ones who will be left holding the bag when the Olympic circus packs up and leaves town. But hey, at least we'll have some shiny new stadiums and a few overpriced souvenirs to remember it all by. That's got to be worth something, right? Section 1, the show must go on, sadly, a glimpse into our dystopian future. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the funhouse mirror that is our current reality, where up is down, black is white, and Robert Downey Jr. is a supervillain. It's enough to make you wonder if we've stumbled onto the set of some bizarre dystopian film. Just imagine it, President Dr. Doom ruling with an iron fist, literally, while Meg Thee Stallion performs at his rallies, rapping about the virtues of obedience and conformity. Kamala Harris, lost and confused as ever, is now in charge of, well, nobody's quite sure what she's in charge of anymore. Probably best not to ask. And the Paris Olympics? They're still going on, of course, but now the athletes compete in events like bribery, doping evasion, and most creative use of public funds. The winners get a lifetime supply of performance-enhancing drugs and a one-way ticket to a tax haven of their choice. Section 1. The show must go on, sadly. A glimpse into our dystopian future. So there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the funhouse mirror that is our current reality. Where up is down, black is white, and Robert Downey Jr. is a supervillain. It's enough to make you wonder if we've stumbled onto the set of some bizarre dystopian film. Section 2. The joke's on us. A reality check in the age of absurdity. It's funny, isn't it? Or at least it should be, but the truth is it's all a bit too close to home for comfort. We live in a world where facts are optional, where truth is relative, and where the line between entertainment and reality has become hopelessly blurred. We're so bombarded with information, so overwhelmed by the sheer absurdity of it all that we've become desensitized to the truly important issues. Climate change, income inequality, the erosion of our democracy? Meh, who cares? Pass the popcorn because Dr. Doom is about to give a press conference. The joke, my friends, is on us. We're so busy laughing or crying at the absurdity of it all that we're failing to see the bigger picture. We're like the proverbial frog in the boiling pot, slowly being cooked alive while we're distracted by the latest celebrity scandal or political gaffe. Don't forget to laugh, because if you don't, you'll cry. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. We still have the power to change things, to demand better from our leaders and to hold them accountable. In the meantime, all we can do is laugh. Laugh at the absurdity of it all, because if we don't laugh, we'll cry.